Saganatan Sajivam Sadaitam Savadotam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishagandhitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatapate Gope Sagavigaganta Radha Kantamastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prisabhano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatrabhascha Kripa Sindhu Vyahevata Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Nama Heva Kevalam Kolam Nasteva Gattiranyata Iti Sudashakam Namam Kali Kalmasanasanam Patrapayam Vishyati Madhuram Madhurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Hare Namaheva Kevalam Namachintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnasudhanidhabhukta Vinatvam Namanaminaha. So we're reading from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Eastern section, second wave. So Rupa Goswami is explaining about two types of ragatmik bhakti. So the topic is Sagnara Bhakti, which is divided in two, Vaidhi Bhakti and then Raganuga Sarana Bhakti. Raganuga means following the 12 associates of Krishna and Braj, Ragatmik Jan. So therefore, Rupa Goswami is explaining, first you have to know what is Ragatmik Jan. What is Ragatmik Jan? Ragatmik Jan? Who is this? Ragatmik Jan?
Example like
Example? Yeah, that means the eternal associates of Krishna and Braj. Ragatmik Jan means the eternal associates of Krishna and Braj who have deep love, attachment. Jan means persons. Ragatmik, persons who have rag towards Krishna. Transcendental love, attachment, deep attachment for Krishna. So we have to know the symptoms of them, and then we may be able to follow them. That is Rag Anuga. Anuga means to follow those who have this kind of love, Rag, for Krishna. Clear? Okay. Clear? Fine.
And who is that person in our
In your case? Well, that we have to see. That, of course, some qualification has to be there to follow Raganuga Bhakti. And so therefore we are discussing this. So we have some understanding, and then we may ultimately become qualified to follow in the footsteps of the eternal associates of Krishna and Braj. And so, yeah, so the pure devotees, they may be there, who have come in this world by the arrangement of the Lord. Of course, when Krishna is coming, then his eternal associates are coming. But then even later on, so Mahaprabhu came, and then his associates, they also eternal associates of the Lord. And then we also accept the acharyas in our sampradaya, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Narottam. So they're also on this platform, on the highest platform of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta, our Prabhupada. And so then Rupa Goswami is explained, Seva Sata Gurupina, Sira Rupina Chatra Hitat Bhavalipsanakaya Varajaloka Sarata. So we follow the bridge buses. First of all, we follow the sadhakas who are bridge buses. Therefore, we are known as Rupanuga Vaishnavas. We follow Rupa Goswami, who is Rupa Manjari. And then we follow Narodam Das Thakur or Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who are also Manjaris. Or Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, I am Kamla Manjari. And then we follow Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada and our Prabhupada, who we also understand are Manjaris. Because some, they may say that Prabhupada is a gop. So some exceptional cases are there, just like Pandava Arjun. So he's there in Dwarka as Krishna's friend, but he's also in Braj. And there he has two forms. One is Arjuniya Gopi and one is Arjun Saka. So, of course, that is very rare. So we follow the spiritual master by following his instructions, Vaidya Bhakti. And then we understand that he may be an associate of Krishna and Braj. And then we try to imbibe his mood, like our acharyas. So they said that we are Rupanuga Vaishnavas. We're following Rupa Goswami as Sadhaka, and then Siddha Rupana Chatrahi and Siddha Vasta in perfected or in more advanced stage, we follow Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami who is Rupa Manjari. And therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, 1 month before he left, he told one of his disciples, Sridhara Maharaj, who was very learned and dear to Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, although he was not a great singer, or his voice was not so sweet as some other devotees, but he had a proper understanding and mood. So he asked him to chant Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Semora Sampada, Semor Bhajana Pujana, Semora Pranadana, Semora Havarana, Semor Jivanera Jivana. So, meditating on Rupa Manjari, who is absorbed in serving Srimati Radharani. And according to her instructions, she may serve Krishna also. Also, she's serving the divine couple. But she's mostly inclined to serve Srimati Radharani. So the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, everything for us. Similarly, Prabhupada, and Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, he asked Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Namaraj also, maybe 1 month before he left, to sing the same song. And then he asked him to put him in Samadhi, so which is very significant. So this is the mood of the Acharya. And those who are purified in consciousness, then they can slowly but surely enter that realm of Raganuga Bhakti. So mostly in Madhurya Bhav. So therefore we perform our devotional service by the Bhakti, and then we try to, when we are more purified in consciousness, we can try to also understand the subject matter of Raganuga Bhakti. Therefore it is there, it is quite at the beginning of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Raganuga Bhakti is there. And so then Rupa Goswami has explained. In order to define Raganuga Bhakti, first Ragatmik Bhakti should be discussed. So he's mentioning we should discuss this subject matter. Therefore we're discussing. Although some people are a little hesitant, but no problem. Let them be hesitant. So that means they may not be qualified. And of course, we should not prematurely jump into that subject matter. If you are still full of anarthas and if you are not knowledgeable. Yes, questions? Ladies first.
No, because I was first.
Okay.
Yes, I have a question. For example, ideally we're supposed to follow Rupa Goswami, who's Rupa Manjari. That's amazing. But I mean, how it's possible to follow someone who I don't have it here right now, like in front of me? Like, you know, he's not present. There is no much information. Like, how to establish relationship, you know? I can do it in my head, but it's going to be my delusion and imagination. But it's very difficult.
Okay.
Like, I
Yes.
don't know what he likes to eat, his favorite color, etc., etc. But it's
Okay.
important.
Sure, yeah.
So how to do it?
Okay, so Rupa Goswami is extremely humble. That is a quality of a Vaishnava. And therefore he does not want others to speak much about him or glorify him and tell what he likes, what he doesn't like, especially in regards to eating, because he eating only very little, maybe 1 chapati a day. So just to maintain the body, it's all together. They're not so much interested in having 1 sabji, 1 paneer sabji, and then 1 liquid sabji, 1 dry sabji, and then sweet rice or halwa. No, they're extremely renounced, eating very little. One time, Rup Sanatan, they were discussing something, and they were hardly eating. Then Radharani was thinking that my devotees, they should eat something. So she came there as a small girl. She's a small girl, but of course she's Kishori, 13, 14 years old. But then she appeared in front of Rupa Goswami as a young girl, maybe 10 or 12, something like that. And she said that, so that I'm seeing and I've heard that you're not eating much, and so therefore I brought some milk, some rice, and some sugar. At that time it was raw sugar. It was not white sugar, for information. Natural living. So please, you make some sweet rice and you offer to Krishna, and then he may take that. Sweet rice is very healthy. If you have pure milk, which is maybe not easy to get nowadays, and if you get nice rice. So then Rupa Goswami said, okay, fine. And this, again, he started talking to Sanatana Goswami, and the Radharani saw they are too busy to cook. Let me just cook the sweet rice. So she cooked the sweet rice. When she was finished, here, Rupa, I saw you're busy here. I made the sweet rice you can offer. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, beautiful girl you are. Just what's fixed in Adalodusida Mahaprabhu and Radharani, and by Yogamaya he couldn't understand in the beginning that was Radharani. So he offered, and then he said, Sanatan, here one girl gave some sweet rice for us to honor. Sweet rice? Okay, we'll take a little bit. And he was tasting it. Wow, that's special sweet rice. I never had something like this. This is real Mahaprasad, first class. And then he realized that was cooked by Srimati Radharani. And then he chastised Rupa Goswami, why are you taking service from Radharani? Oh, then he realized also, yeah, I was thinking this girl was very, very special, but I couldn't recognize, I could not understand that this is Srimati Radharani.
Sound low है थोड़ा.
अच्छा. So they may accept a little prasadam here and there, what is offered with devotion. So they were not so much concerned about eating and so on. Therefore, but they were concerned in chanting at least 1 lakh. So, and then they were just studying, and then they were giving this knowledge to others. So they are pleased if you try to chant more, if you're chanting nicely. So if you're chanting 1 lakh, Rupa Goswami, you can be assured Rupa Goswami is happy. 1 lakh is actually is 100,000 name. 1 lakh, 1 lakh is 100,000. That means actually, if you count the holy names, it is like almost 58 rounds, 57 and something rounds. But because there's some things with the numbers also, like we chant 4 rounds, or then we chant 8 rounds in the beginning. So we don't chant 3 or 5, better to chant 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 32, and then 68. And if you do a few extra rounds, it's better than a few less ones. And because in the conditioned state, we may not chant Shuddhanam, so better to chant a little extra, a little more than 100,000. But so if you do that, then the spiritual master will be happy. Prabhupada will be happy. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada will be happy. Bhaktivinoda Thakur will be happy. Rupa Goswami will be happy. Mahaprabhu will be very happy. And then when Mahaprabhu is happy, then so Radha Krishna will be happy too, because Mahaprabhu is no different from Radha and Krishna. And then you may be able to enter that realm. So Rupa Goswami is very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and very dear to Srimati Radharani as Rupa Manjari. So simply by already calling out Rupa Manjari or Rupa Goswami, then you will draw the attention of the internal energy of the Lord, of Mahaprabhu and Radha and Krishna. And then if you read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, so in one sense you are actually then associating with Rupa Goswami also, because here he is speaking, we should think he's speaking here. When you read the Sanskrit, oh, this is Raghunath Das Goswami, he's speaking, he's writing. Well, then you can be connected in this way. Just by reading the book, you're connected with Rupa Goswami. There's Vapu Seva and Vani Seva. Vapu means the body which you may see. By maybe washing the clothes. Of course, they only had, maybe they had a lower cloth, of course, kopin, and then bahirvas, one kind of lungi. They were not wearing dhoti, more like Babaji dress. And sometimes a upper cloth, and sometimes they didn't bother in the summer to have an upper cloth. And so in the morning they take bath in their cloth, and then they just take out the water and they hang the cloth, and they have a second set, 2 sets only. That's all. So, and they don't want to, because they're so humble, they feel so insignificant, they don't really want others to serve them. So utmost humility. But still at the same time, people were giving them something to eat, they were taking something little. So, but they wrote these literatures for the benefit of the fallen conditioned souls. So if we are reading the books of Rupa Goswami, then we are associating with him. And then, so he wrote Stavamala, and beautiful prayers in glorification of Mahaprabhu, in glorification of Krishna, in glorification of Radharani, Radhika Ashtakam. If we chant this Ashtakam, then Rupa Goswami will be happy. Oh, this devotee is chanting this Radhika Ashtakam. And so Radharani will be pleased when she will hear that Ashtakam, Radhika Ashtakam, because that is compiled by Rupa Goswami, who is Rupa Manjari. And so if we are reciting these verses, then so we will draw their attention, their mercy. So in this way, we can associate, and in this way we will be able to please them. So, and so we can pray like Raghunath Das Goswami, Vilap Kusumanjali. You know the book? You heard the book, Vilap Kusumanjali? Vilap, some kind of transcendental lamentation. Kusumanjali, so praying, of course, to Srimati Radharani. And just like Kusumanjali, Kusum means flowers. So we do Pushpanjali or Kusumanjali, offering flowers to the lotus feet of Guru or Gauranga or Krishna or Radharani. So he's offering these verses to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So with some transcendental lamentation, supplication and praying to be able to serve the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. But there, so his Raghunath Das Goswami, so in the mood of a sadhaka, in some of the verses, and in the mood of a Siddha Swarup as Rati Manjari, so he's offering prayers and begging for the mercy of Srimati Radharani and of Rupa Manjari or Rupa Goswami. Sri Rupa Manjari Padma Pamachit, Sri Rupa Manjari Karachita Padda Padme, Gostendu Suno, Mastakaya, Ha Modata Kanaka Gori, Padaravinda, Sambhami Karishe, Tavakim Karishe. So praying to Rupa Manjari. So Rupa Manjari is massaging the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. As she's together with Shyamasundar on his lap. And then so praying to Srimati Radharani. That please let me be able to massage your lotus feet. So he's praying actually to Radharani and to Rupa Manjari. So Radharani, she's accepting the service of Rupa Manjari. Rupa Manjari is massaging the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So praying for the remnants of that, praying to be also able to serve. So praying to Rupa Manjari also, please give me the opportunity to also massage the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So in this way we may also recite these verses and adopt the mood of Raghunath Das Goswami or Rati Manjari, taking shelter of Rupa Goswami or Rupa Manjari, and then Srimati Radharani's lotus feet, Radha Dasyan. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada used to sometimes recite his 104 verses by heart. So he was chanting by heart. 104 verses, one after the other. So in this way, so we may, by taking shelter of the acharyas, who are in that mood, who are Rupanuga Vaishnavas, following Rupa Goswami as Sadhaka, and in more advanced stage, they're following Rupa Manjari or Rati Manjari. Rupa Raghunatha Padiyara, Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe, Krishna Das. So our acharyas, they are Rupanuga Vaishnavas or Rupa Raghunath. Krishna Das at the end of each chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita is taking shelter of Rupa Raghunath. And by their mercy is writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nama Bhakti Vinodaya Satchanananda Namine Gaura Shakti Surupaya Rupanuga Varayate. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur is the foremost of the followers of Rupa Goswami. So by taking shelter of the previous acharyas, by taking shelter of these transcendental literatures, then we'll be associating. That is then Vani Seva. So we may not see the body of Rupa Goswami in the beginning, but then Vani Seva is there. So we serve the Vani, the words which they have spoken, like this book here, or Rasamrita, and then in this way we are associating. In this way we can have that association, and then in this way ultimately, so we may be able to see Rupa Goswami, and then we may be able to see Rupa Manjari. So, and this, and we're not going to ask Rupa Goswami, what do you like to eat? We say, what? What are you talking about? What do I want to eat? Ask what Radharani wants to eat, or what Mahaprabhu likes to eat. So that is the mood of the Goswamis. They're fully absorbed in serving Mahaprabhu or Radha Krishna, and they will like what they like. So Mahaprabhu likes bananas. So if you ask Rupa Goswami, yeah, get some bananas, we'll offer to Mahaprabhu. So, so by reading these transcendental literatures, then we can associate with these great personalities. So Bhakti, Sridhar Maharaj, so he was a great scholar. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, he wrote these books and he brought Krishna consciousness to the West, so he was very much blessed by Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. So, and actually, at one point he wanted to take sannyas from Sridhar Maharaj. But because Sridhar Maharaj had stayed with him in the same house upstairs and he was downstairs, Prabhupada with his family, he was saying, I cannot give you sannyas, otherwise your family members, they will not be happy. I'm staying with you, I'm giving you sannyas. How I can stay then here? They will kick me out. He said, you take from somebody else. So they were friends. Of course, sometimes there's some transcendental disagreement between great personalities also. But basically they were friends. And so Sridhar Maharaj, he wrote prayers in glorification of Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Prabhupada Padastava. So, and he instructed his disciples that these verses should be chanted every day in every of nights, in every of my ashrams. And still up to this day, they're chanting every day. And there in one of them, says glorifying Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, that he has a friendly relationship with, of course, first of all with Gaur Kishore Das Babiji Maharaj, who was his Diksha Guru, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was his father, but his Shiksha Guru also, and he wanted to take Diksha from him actually. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him, no, you take from Gaur Kishore, my friend. And then it is mentioned that he has a very friendly relationship and closer relationship with Narottam Das Thakur, Rupa Goswami. Although he came many years after, right? So, but if one is highly advanced, then one can communicate with his great personalities in purified consciousness. And if one is realized, then one is speaking with Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna, or to speak of the associates of the Lord. So therefore we have to purify our consciousness, and then we may be able to communicate with these great personalities. So keep on chanting Hare Krishna, and then you can, and then you hear these books, you read these books, and then you may have a relationship. Then there will be an exchange there. And so we read these books and there's so much nectar there, and then we feel so much indebted to Rupa Goswami. Okay, you had a question? क्या?
आप उस समय बोल रहे थे ना hesitate होंगे कुछ लोग.
Hesitate?
Yes.
In what?
Something by discussing
Or by Raganuga, discussing Raganuga Bhakti, yes. Yes, so?
उसके बारे में मुझे थोड़ा hesitate होंगे.
Why they are hesitating? Yeah, some persons maybe hesitating to discuss about the subject matter of Raganuga Bhakti or Ragatmik Bhakti. It is there. Why? Because they are not yet ready. So they feel they are not ready. So therefore they don't want to discuss. That's all. No problem. Yeah. You see, not everyone who is coming to Krishna consciousness is immediately able to understand this subject matter. And so there's no issue, no problem. Whereas others are very eager somehow, and sometimes they may not be qualified, but they have the eagerness to hear about this. So therefore we have to have a balance and see what is our position. And then we should then be a little careful also, and not just try to be absorbed in the subject matter of Raganuga Bhakti if you are not even able to get up early in the morning and chant our rounds every day. Then what do you want to talk about Radha and Krishna and Raganuga Bhakti? If you cannot even get up early every day in the morning and chant your 16 rounds. So, to discuss Raganuga Bhakti and then to become absorbed in that, you have to, first of all, you must have a good sadhana. Vaidhi Bhakti sadhana. And then you may enter Raganuga Bhakti. So, okay, yeah. So therefore some are hesitant, yeah, and not qualified, and maybe I will fall down. So if I try to prematurely go into that realm, so that is there. And others, they are not hesitant, but if they're not following strictly Sarana Bhakti, then they're also not really qualified yet to enter that realm. So that you have to understand. So be strong in your Sarana Bhakti. Vaidhi Sarana Bhakti. So you're getting up every day early? And Mangalati? 16 rounds every day? Since 1 year, 2 years? No? Okay. So do that first for a few years. Strong Sarana Bhakti. Then you can dive into the realm of, well, some say, he wanted what he was saying, after 10 years you should be able to enter in that realm. And one other day what he was saying, what, after 10 years already entering Raganuga Bhakti? No. We should wait 20, 30 years or 40 years, maybe the end of life. Yeah. But the end of life, then we don't have the time. And if you have not discussed about this subject matter, if you have not tried to understand this subject matter, you will not be able to go to join the pastimes of Radha, Krishna and Braj. Then you have to take birth again, and then you can hope to have some good association, and so you may be able to then enter that realm. So we have to see then some qualification should be there, and okay, yeah. But, yeah, actually Mahaprabhu, he came to introduce the chanting of the holy names, and then specifically he wanted to give actually Braj Bhakti, and specifically he wanted to give Madhurya Bhav, Gopi Bhav, because he's not different from Radha and Krishna. But, and therefore mostly the association of Mahaprabhu, they may be in Gopi Bhav, but not everyone will be immediately qualified. So therefore we have to follow Sarana Bhakti, Vaidhi Sarana Bhakti, and then when we are steady, then we may enter that realm of Raganuga Bhakti. And there should be no hesitation. There's no need. And so we should ultimately, so therefore it is given there and to be discussed. Is writing here, it has to be discussed. Sooner or later. Yeah, sooner. Yeah. Yeah.
read somewhere Srila Bhakti Prabhupada has written in an article, after chanting 10 to 15 years, a devotee should discuss about these topics with a qualified Vaishnava. Is
Hmm.
this true? Like,
I mean, I don't remember reading that he was writing that or speaking that. Maybe, maybe not. I can't remember reading that. Huh? What is Vaidhi Bhakti? Vaidhi Bhakti means to follow the rules and regulations. That is Vaidhi Bhakti, like getting up early in the morning, 4:35 or maybe 5:30 is okay, every day. And then taking bath, and then Mangalatik, and then chanting Hare Krishna, and then little deity worship, and then hearing some Krishna Katha. So following rules and regulations, that is Vaidhi Bhakti. And then learning also some common things like we eat with the right hand only. Sometimes nowadays, even in India, you see people eat with the left hand. And then after eating, they have some kind of handkerchief and, or even maybe they clean their hand like this. Ho gaya kaam. But no, you're supposed to wash your hands and your mouth after eating. So these things you have to follow. This is called Vaidhi Bhakti, some rules and regulations. So and after eating, you have to clean the table, or if you eat on the floor, you have to clean the floor. So these rules and regulations, some small rules and regulations, so have to be followed. And that is known as Vaidhi Bhakti. In regards to cleanliness, yes, and the body, and then if you do second number, going to the bathroom, then you have to take bath. Now there's some people even so in the cities they don't do. In the cities, yeah. Maybe even here, yeah. So we have to know some rules and regulations for external purity, cleanliness, purity, and then internal also purity has to be there, and purity of speech also. So speaking properly and politely, and being respectful, even that is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, there is austerity of the body, mind, and words. So for this, so yeah, for obeisances to the spiritual master, to the deities, so that is an austerity for the body. And then you speak the truth, you recite the Vedic literatures, that is the austerity for the tongue. And then serenity, being grave, gambhir, in consciousness, not just joking around, and but being serious about spiritual life and being regulated. So that is Vaidhi Bhakti, so that we have to perform. So when we do that and we are steady in following the rules and regulations and chanting every day 16 rounds minimum, okay, minimum 16, right? You chant more, sometimes a little more. Yeah, trying, good. So then by doing that, then you may be able to enter the Raga Bhakti, spontaneous path. But first you have to be fixed in following Vaidhi Bhakti, the rules and regulations. Okay? Fine? Good. Any other question? So 2 times of Ragatmik Bhakti, that is Kamarup like the gopis, and then Sambandha Rupa, relationship, like the parents of Krishna. That is the relationship. And friends of Krishna, servants of Krishna. So, of course, the gopis, they have this intimate relationship. And so that calm, usually calm in the material world, it means lust for sense gratification. But here, so calm, that is conjugal feeling towards Krishna with love, with pure love, prem. So then, so that is explained also, that will be explained also here in a few verses. in regards to relationship from the seventh canto. Tatahi saptame kama dvishad bayat snehad yatta bhaktyesware namaha manaha aveshatad agam hitva bhavas tad katim gataha gopya kamad bayat kamso dveshad chaidyadayo nripa sambandat Krishnaya snehad yuyam bhaktya vayam vivo. So these two types of ragatmic bhakti are illustrated in the seventh canto, text 30 and 31 of the first chapter. Just as by Vaidhi Bhakti one can attain one's spiritual goals, many persons have attained suitable forms according to their type of absorption. After absorbing their minds in the Lord out of lust, hatred, fear and affection, and after giving up their sinful mentality. Mighty King Yudhishthira, the gopis by their conjugal desire, Kamsa by fear, Shishupala and other kings by envy, the Vrishnas of Braja by their relationship with Krishna, you Pandavas by your great affection for Krishna, and we, Narad, by our Vaidhi Bhakti have obtained the mercy of Krishna. So different relationships are explained here. So kamad, so that means actually it is translated as lust, but that means transcendental lust, so it means conjugal relationship with Krishna. But that is out of love. And so Kamsa, he got purified also by being killed by Krishna. So he was fearful of Krishna, but then he was liberated. Of course, different kinds of liberation are there also. So the gopis, the eternal associates, but then some gopis were there, or some ladies who were in the mood of the gopis, and then they were able to enter the pastimes. Whereas some of the demons are mentioned here, and then so they were merging in the body of Krishna, so that was not actually the ultimate liberation. So that we have to understand. So Jiva Goswami is explaining also, because of the impossibility of regulating the feelings that arise spontaneously according to our own taste, those persons filled with conjugal attraction and other emotions mentioned in the verse cannot be classified as practitioners of Vaidhi Bhakti. The following statement has been made. Tasmad vairanu bandena nir vairena vayenava sner kamena vayunjat katanchin nekshate prita. Therefore, by constant enmity or by devotional service, by fear, by affection, or by lusty desire, by all of these or by any of them, if a conditioned soul somehow or other happens to concentrate his mind upon the Lord, the result is the same, for the Lord, because of his blissful position, is never affected by enmity or friendship. In this verse, Yunjat in the potential mood indicating possibility rather than injunction, which belongs to Vaidhi Bhakti, the meaning is thus. It is possible to concentrate on the Lord through enmity, devotion, fear, affection, or conjugal love. Rather than one should concentrate on the Lord through enmity, devotion, fear, affection, or conjugal attraction. So in other words, so Vaidhi Bhakti is there, by which we can advance and then enter into the spontaneous platform. So, but sometimes somebody will get some mercy by these feelings as mentioned here, which is not part of Vaidya Bhakti, like for example Kamsa. He was thinking of Krishna, but he was afraid of Krishna also, because he sent so many of his people and demons and they were all killed. So he became very much afraid. But he was thinking of Krishna. But it has to be, that is mentioned in the beginning, Anyabilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Navritam. Anukul. No, no. You should recite every day this verse. No, no. Anukulina. Bhakti Ruttamam. You say? Okay, very good. Yeah, so it has to be anukul, should be favorable. Our devotional practice as Krishna likes. So Kamsa, he was wanting to kill Krishna. So that was not favorable. So this is not Vaidya Bhakti. But because he was thinking of Krishna and Krishna is so merciful, okay, we'll give him liberation. Or Shishupal also. He was criticizing Krishna like anything. And Krishna was thinking, okay, he can do 100 times. But afterwards, Haribol. So 100 times he was criticizing him. And then Krishna cut off his head. So this is not Vaidya Bhakti. He was thinking about Krishna all the time, but not favorable. So it has to be favorable. So, and then Kubja is there also. She had some lusty feelings, but at the same time she wanted to satisfy. But she wanted to enjoy. Oh, handsome man, Krishna, wow, so beautiful. But she wanted to enjoy. But the gopis, they want to give pleasure to Krishna. So like this. So then following them, so in a favorable mood, that is Vaidya Bhakti. So like worshipping Krishna, and then, but in a favorable way, that is Vaidya Bhakti. But so these persons, they also became liberated, but that liberation was merging in the body of Krishna, in the Brahma Jyoti, Krishna's body. So that is not ultimate liberation. But they became free from this material suffering, so from the time being. So therefore the distinction is made here. Yes. Yeah, he came then as Chankansi in Gaur Lila, and he became. Yeah, yeah. So he became Chankazi and then he was liberated. So here, but then it is, in the sequence of verses, it is also said, Tasmat kinapya payena mana Krishna niveshayet. Therefore, one may become absorbed in Krishna by any favorable method. Mana tasmat kinapya payena, somehow or by the other. You should remember Krishna. Like in English we say, by hook or by crook. You have to remember Krishna or serve Krishna. So, but still, it should be kind of a positive mood. Somehow I have to remember Krishna, but in a positive way, not in a negative way. So that is mentioned here also. So in this statement, the potential mood indicates approval. One may become absorbed in Krishna. Yata in verse 274 means yatavat, correspondingly. Tadgati means an appropriate form. Therefore, the meaning of verse 274 is, many persons absorbing their minds in the Lord out of conjugal feelings, hatred, fear, affection, devotion, attained according to their type of absorption a suitable form, tadgatim. So then it is also mentioned here, explanation, those who intensely concentrate on the Lord with hatred or fear can attain liberation, but not prem. So you can become liberated from this material existence, but you cannot attain prem. Among those persons, those with hatred or fear gave up their sins or impurity by the power of absorbing their minds in the Lord. The statement, however, does not apply to those persons with conjugal feelings. Come, they have no sin. The calm mentioned is not material. The supreme nature of the gopis' calm is shown in the following statement. Vishan apirishikesham kim utadoksaja priya. Since even Shishupal, who hated Krishna, achieved perfection, what to speak of the Lord's dear gopis? This statement praises the calm of the gopis, showing how it is superior. Even though in verse 275 it is mentioned alongside fear and hatred exhibited by people opposed to Krishna. The gopis with lust mentioned in verse 275 are understood to be gopis, to be the gopis. In a state of purvarag prior to meeting Krishna directly during earthly pastimes, the same, so during earthly pastimes, so purvarag. So that means there's some attraction towards Krishna even before meeting, by hearing about Krishna, by seeing a picture of Krishna. So here also the Vrishnis are explained. Vrishnis usually means those of Dwarka, the inhabitants of Dwarka. But here specifically is mentioned so that in the early past times when the Yadavas were in Mathura, and the Pandavas, so they experience from Krishna, separation from Krishna before he leaves Braj. Later they met him when he leaves Braj. So this state of separation is called Ukantita, in the case of Ras other than Madhurya Ras. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is further explaining, one should not say, how can the Nitya Siddha devotees such as the gopis be described as attaining calm and other relationships, since those relations are eternal? The intention is to show the state of Purvarag that they experience during Krishna's earthly pastimes. So when the associates appear in this world, so just like Krishna is appearing as a baby, so then the eternal associates, they're also appearing as babies. And then, so the natural love is there for Krishna, but it is not immediately manifest, because they are in baby form. So, but it is there, but then as they grow, and then it will fully manifest. Text 276 and 77. Anukulya viparyasad bhiti dvesha praha. Oh no, this is, let me see. Oh, this is too long. Purport is too long. 2 pages. So it is very lengthy explanation, so that one may understand the subject matter. Still, it is in regards to 2 kinds of relationship with Krishna. Either so sambandha, so the relationship, or by the the conjugal feelings of the gopis. So that is the point. But then examples are given of persons in this world. And then, so that is for the practicing devotee. So the whole point is that we have to understand the moods of the eternal associates, and then we have to also understand in regards to different persons coming in contact with Krishna, they also become liberated. But the liberation is of a different kind. So those who are favorably serving Krishna, they will get prem, love for Krishna. Those not favorable, they will become free from this material existence, but they will not attain prem. They may go to and merge in the Brahmajyoti or Krishna's effulgence. So Krishna's body means Krishna's effulgence. So very elaborate descriptions are given here, so we may be able to understand the subject matter properly. So because in the conditioned state, so still many feelings are there, and they may not always be positive. So even though we may be engaged in devotional service and we're following rules and regulations, but still then the feelings are not always positive. Still, if one is under the modes of material nature, then as we know, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, even if one already has some devotional feelings towards Krishna, but if one is not free yet from anarthas, from unwanted things, from the modes of material nature, then this material emotions will come also. So that we have to understand, and we have to tolerate, and we have to deal with that. But then we have to try to continue with our devotional service, and the internal development has to be there, and the endeavor. And then, so therefore, even if some anarthas may still be there, we may already be able to discuss this subject matter, so that we can understand from the statement here. So, but then the mood has to be positive, anukul, Krishna Anushilanam. But even if there are some anarthas, then we may still, we have to continue with our devotional service, and we may discuss these topics also, and that will help us to become free also from these anarthas. Even at the end of the 10th canto, 33rd chapter, which is about Rasa Lila, so it is explained that by hearing about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Vikritidam Vrajavadaviridam cha Vishnu, Atash, what is it, second line? Ata Shrinuvat Vanayat Ridyo Rogam Ashrape Hayoti. I can't remember the full slok in Sanskrit, but explaining, if you hear and discuss about the wonderful pastimes of Radha and Krishna, then the disease of the heart, lust, so that will be eradicated. And then actually first, by hearing about these pastimes, then the transcendental emotions will be there, and then lust that can be vanished. That will be vanished. So therefore we have to engage in the devotional service, and we may discuss this subject matter, and then we may become free from anarthas, from unwanted things. So, but it takes some time, so we have to be patient. Hare Krishna. Yes,
You
one
wanted-
last, yeah.
You gave two statements that first you told that when there is anartha, this Raganuga topic should not be discussed, and now you told one more statement that there should be also internal developments, and even if one has anarthas, he could discuss this topics, but it should be favorable. What does it specifically mean here, the internal developments?
Yeah. So I didn't say that you cannot discuss if the anarthas are there, but one has to be careful. So we have to understand that we cannot just try to be fully absorbed in Raganuga Bhakti if so many anarthas are still there. If one is not following strictly the process also, we have to follow Vaidhi Bhakti, and then slowly but surely one becomes cleansed of anarthas, one becomes purified. But to think that let me first become completely purified and then I will discuss about these things, that is not possible. Because it will take so much time and there's no guarantee to become completely free. But rather, but carefully we may discuss this subject matter and still follow the rules and regulations of Vaidhi Bhakti and try to discuss this subject matter and try to become absorbed internally. And then by doing that, and by the mercy of Guru Garanga Krishna, then slowly but surely the anarthas will go away. But even then on the platform of Nishtha and Ruchi, some little anarthas may be there. They will be there, but one is not so much bothered. But on the platform of Anartha Nivritti, many anarthas are there and therefore one is not able to be absorbed and to be even steady in Vaidhi Bhakti. But if one is more fixed and one comes to Nishtha, then one is able to be steady and to be more absorbed. And but still anarthas will be there, but not so many, and one will not be so much affected by the anarthas. And by Ruchi even less anarthas are there, and they stays there. So then we can advance more quickly, and we can be more absorbed internally. So it is a matter of practice, and if we are sincere, then we will advance. But some caution has to be there, and if we see that we are not so fixed, we don't have a taste yet, and then still so many anarthas are there, then we should be a little cautious in regards to trying to be absorbed. But it doesn't mean we cannot discuss, and it doesn't mean we cannot follow, or we cannot try to follow the eternal message of Krishna and Braj. So even on the platform of Anartha Nivritti, you can discuss, or you can hear this subject matter. You can pray to the gopis, to Maria Shoda, and try to understand their mood, or follow their mood to some extent. So it can be done also there. But so we have to be a little cautious and follow the rules and regulations of Vaidhi Bhakti foremost, and understand that we have to get purified more.
And what should be that internal developments?
Internal development that will come slowly but surely. Ultimately, we have to try to remember the pastimes of Krishna and Braj, and according to one's inclination also, according to the Rati, the Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya Rati. So that will come in purified consciousness. Automatically, one will be then attracted to a particular relationship. And then we may try to remember. So some endeavor is there, but then we cannot force it. But we endeavor, and then we remember the pastimes of Krishna throughout the day and night. Try to remember sometimes, but we cannot force and in a conditioned state. But we try as much as we can while chanting or during the day. So, but it cannot be done artificially. It has to come also more in purified consciousness, then it will be more spontaneous. But slowly but surely, the internal development will be there. And then Krishna also, on that platform, then Krishna will also guide from within and from externally by reading or by hearing about this process, then one will come to understand, and Krishna internally will also guide, or Mahaprabhu internally are there. So internally it will also, some guidance will be there, but externally we'll need some guidance also, and some, because otherwise, if one is not pure, then one may just speculate also, and then one may be diverted also, or take it cheaply also. So we have to be fixed in our Sanana Bhakti, Vaidhi Sanana Bhakti, and then slowly try to be internally absorbed also, slowly but surely. And Krishna will guide, and the spiritual master, the acharyas, the Vaishnavas who are more advanced, they will give some guidance. By speaking, just by kata, then you may get guidance, or some by question and answer, some guidance may be there, or spontaneously then some guidance may come. So from semi devotees, and then you can slowly but surely proceed. So by transcendental arrangements, so everything will be slowly but surely will be accomplished, so that we can advance more and more. But then, of course, it will take time, and it is not so easy also. Obstacles will be there, difficulties are there in life, and so we have to overcome these also. So even as sadhaka, so difficulty will be there, and then trying to be internally absorbed, so that as a matter of practice, but that is also not so easy, and it takes some time, so we have to be enthusiastic, and so we want to achieve that goal, but then we have to be patient also, and constantly engage in spiritual activities and be in good association, then we can advance. Okay? Anything else? So you did some Chandan Seva? Chandan Seva? Feeling good? Okay. So good.